Saviour's Spire I don't think is complete yet, so that does give Saviour a little bit of time. That does buy Saviour a little bit of time. And Iris now opening up that avenue to the top lane. Saviour does have a couple of Sunkens, and I do feel they are going to be enough because it's going to be difficult for Iris. And Iris now coming with those American Marine groups. Iris might try and string there. It's going to be difficult because he's not going to be able to get a full flank. He's not going to be able to get a full spread of attack on those two Sunkens. So Saviour not having to invest as many Sunkens as he would have had to otherwise. However, excuse me, this again displays a little bit of imbalance off Monty Hall. That the fact that Saviour has to build Sunkens at two different expansions, at two different avenues to defend his base, and Saviour's Spire is up, so Saviour's going to be producing some Mutalisks, and that's forced Iris back into his main, and I believe that drone is waiting to set up a Queen's Nest for Saviour, and Saviour now streaming up towards the top lane, and Iris has been forced to retreat his, and Saviour's Mutalisk pop, Saviour's first Mutalisk pop, so this Mutalisk harass is going to be absolutely key here. If Saviour can do some damage with this Mutalisk harass, he is going to set himself up with a significant advantage, but Iris is prepared for it. Last time he got caught with his pants down, this time he's got a few turrets up in his expo, and he's got turrets up in his main. He's also got American Marines, and Iris is content to play a standard game. His economy was slowed down a little bit. Whether or not Saviour slowed it down enough by that Zergling block early on, Saviour did invest a lot in those Zerglings to slow Iris down. He didn't have a lot of drones, and Saviour now trying to set up an expert in the middle lane, trying to go for that third gas, and Saviour also getting a Hydralisk den up. So Saviour just doing a little bit of harass, trying to take off that scan building that's the remnant of Iris' command center, which Iris was forced to put down. Iris in defensive mode. Saviour content, I believe, to let Iris sit back in there and defend. And Saviour just trying to micro around, trying to get his Mutalisk micro. Saviour not being able to do any damage to Iris' economy thus far. Saviour has in the past been content to not do any damage to Iris' economy with those Mutalisks, just content enough to keep him in his base while he expands. And that does seem to be the style of play that Saviour favors. He has got something. I see a big yellow blob in at the 12 o'clock position at the top of the map. I'm not sure if that's a group of Zerglings or what. Saviour just again harassing around, microing his Mutalisk excellently. Iris does have three turrets there. Those Saviour's going to have a tough time trying to get around that and trying to actually take those turrets, and Saviour just setting up that gas now at his hatchery in the middle lane, and obviously he's doing a great job of keeping Iris pinned back, stopping Iris from venturing forth in any of the lanes, and Iris is now pushing forward at the top lane. Saviour just trying to use that choke to his advantage. Saviour is great at using the chokes to his advantage, try and pick off a few more Marines, and it's really impossible to tell. Saviour already is starting his tech to high, so Saviour well up on his tech, but again the difficulty of flanking, the difficulty of having maneuverability on this map is something that's going to obviously work against Saviour, and Iris I believe realizes that and setting up himself up for a late game. And Saviour now just microing his middle lane. Iris is foraging through up that top lane, and Saviour content to let him do so because he does have his defense in place. Okay, he does not. He only had a single Sunken there, so Saviour does have a few Hydralisks there. He did have that Hydralisk den up, so he probably should have a few Lurkers going, but obviously Saviour now quickly trying to put up a few Sunkens. Saviour quickly trying to plonk down 4 Sunkens. Saviour is going to need to slow Iris down a little bit. Saviour did have those Zerglings, and Saviour brilliantly getting those Zerglings into Iris' main, and Iris is going to be forced to retreat. So that handful of Zerglings is going to do a great job. It's not going to do any damage to Iris' economy, and Saviour's going to lose those Zerglings for nothing. But what it has done is it has bought Saviour crucial seconds, and Saviour's hive is up. Saviour's Greater Spire is building. Saviour once again going for the Greater Spire. Iris doesn't have that science facility up yet. I believe Iris didn't have any science facilities, and Saviour has bought himself enough time to get a Sunken wall up, and Saviour's got 5 Sunkens up and going, so Iris is not, I don't believe Iris is going to have nearly enough to break that. Okay, Iris does have his science facility up, and Iris going for the 2 starport build. So this is very similar to what we saw in that game 5 last season on Neo Arachnoid, that absolutely epic massive game that Saviour came out on top in the end of, and this match certainly looks to be similar in terms of the strategies the players are going for. Obviously Saviour didn't go for Guardians on that occasion, but Iris going for a very similar strategy. Saviour does have Lurkers up as well, so that's going to slow Iris down. So Saviour successfully defending his 3 gas build, and Iris not able to push him. The difficulty obviously on this is that Zerg player does have to defend on multiple fronts, and obviously the Terror player has to as well on multiple fronts. The fact that Iris is going for 2 starports does lead me to believe that Iris is going to be going for mass science vessels, and Saviour just microing around, just more scouting with those Mutalisks than anything, not really doing too much damage to Iris. Iris has got that large force of American Marines in the north lane, just north of Saviour's base, and I believe this is an opportunity for Saviour to go for an attack at the south base through the bottom lane, and Iris now setting up a bunker with a couple of Marines and Firebats at that bottom lane. Saviour has scouted that with his Overlord. Iris trying to set up an expansions on the bottom lane, and Saviour's just going to bring his large group of Mutalisks down. He's going to be able to take that out quite comfortably, and Saviour just trying to push Iris' American Marines further back with those Lurkers. He manages to kill off a medic and a single Marine, so that's not going to do a lot of damage. Iris is going to have that bunker up, but it's not going to matter to Saviour, and Saviour just trying to push forward a little bit with that Lurker, and Saviour does get down. I'm not sure if Iris actually got anything inside that bunker, so that bunker it has got nothing inside it, and Saviour can probably just finish that off with a couple of Marines, with a couple of Zerglings, and Iris is now taking the expansion at the 9 o'clock position as well. He has built an expansion there, and Iris going, and this is turning into a very heavy macro game. Both players in a little bit of a defensive posture, both players content to let the other player get their tech up and get their army up, and placing a great deal of confidence in their ability to micro. And Savior now going forward with those Scourges. We saw him doing a very effective attack last game around, but last game you've got to remember that Iris didn't have any, and Iris now pushing down the south with a large American Marine group, but that means he's not going to have a lot in his main to defend. He is concentrating on science vessels. He's not going to have a lot of irradiates either. Savior setting up more Sunkens at the bottom to try and defend against Iris's push. Iris doesn't have nearly enough, I believe, to break that Sunken line, but he has committed his forces on both the top and bottom lane. Those Guardians are out, and he's also got a Devour here, and Saber's actually going to try and take out that American Marine group. He's going to try and pinch that American Marine group between his lurkers excuse me, sorry, and the Zerglings, and Iris is going to lose that American Marine group. There's nowhere for them to go. He is surrounded. He's pincered between lurkers and Sunkens and Savior's Guardians, so Iris is going to lose those American Marines. Iris trying to inflict as much damage upon Savior as he can, and just trying to buy himself some time. I believe that was a little bit of a mistake from Savior, because Iris had committed his forces on both lanes, and Savior should have really gone for his main. He's giving Iris enough time to build up science vessels. He's giving Iris time to not only to build up science vessels, but also to build up irradiates, because Iris only had 2 science vessels that are possibly low on energy in terms of irradiates, and Iris just trying to micro those Marines around, trying to save them, trying every last man counts in this epic battle. And Savior now has cleared that lane, so his ground forces can reinforce, and Savior with Hydralisks, Defilers, Lurkers, and Guardians, and Savior with a multidisciplinary force here, with a multitasking force, and Iris now moving forward to try and prevent Savior from getting in that choke. Iris has already built up a significant fleet of science vessels, so those Guardians are going to find themselves in trouble. Those Guardians are going to get irradiated. Savior with Devourers as well, and Savior's going to try and take those science vessels down. He just managed to pick up one of the science vessels, so brilliant play by Savior, and Savior continued to move forward. That Defiler has got plagued. He needs to try and set up Swarm before he dies over that middle line, so his troops can get through, because that is going to be the point where Iris is going to try and go, and that's exactly what Savior does. Savior also filling up with those Overlords, who have fast movement speeds, so they might very well have drop capability as well. And Savior now once again going with those Scourges. Savior's Scourge Micro letting him down on this occasion. Normally his Scourge Micro is absolutely impeccable, and that was a little bit careless by Savior. His Scourge Micro letting him down. Iris does have that expo to the south, and I believe that's where Savior should have focused his attack, but it looks like Savior is going to try and focus on Iris' main, and Savior attacking with those Guardians, just moving those Guardians forward. Iris, despite it spamming his irradiates, doesn't seem to have been able to take out a lot of those Guardians, and Iris is now going to try and counter those Guardians. Savior trying to fight with that Swarm, and Savior with Plague on all of those American Marines, and that's going to hurt Iris a lot. Iris is just losing a lot of his American Marines, and Iris, even though he's got a lot of those science vessels, he doesn't have a lot of forces on the ground. He is pumping units from all of his barracks, and if Savior can establish himself, and Iris does have siege tanks on this occasion, this is the kind of a strategy that we saw from Silver, using Guardians and Hydralisks versus his opponent in the previous game, and it worked very effectively for him. But in that game, Shine did not have any siege tanks. Iris does have siege tanks, and that is something that allows Iris to last, and Savior is trying to work further and further into Iris' main, but he does not have Defilers. He needs to get a Defiler up there to get a Swarm up, and Iris is now with a group of American Marines trying to push forward, trying to retake that choke, but he's having a difficult time of it, and Savior now is actually moving towards the top of Iris' base, going for those supply depots. Just decided to buffer again for a second there. It's back up now, and I'm just seeing the picture of Savior. Just saw a picture of Iris, just for anyone who's a little bit out of sync, and Savior forced to retreat from that, so Savior pulls his forces out, unable to effect the victory on that occasion. Iris with brilliant defense, and I believe that Savior made a mistake in going for that attack. I believe Savior did make a little bit of a mistake going for that northern route, just setting up that second creep colony, and Savior's got 2 evolution chambers up and his Defilers. So Savior does have 3 gas. Iris has 3 gas as well though, and Iris is nearly mined out in that middle expansion. I don't think he's going to be too worried about that. So Savior is essentially trying to control the top lane, and we do see that on this map, and Iris has built up a large army now, and Saviour's going to have a tough time, because Savior did go for that attack early on, and I do feel that Iris has a little bit of an advantage now. Iris with lots of tanks, with medic and Marines, and Savior focusing primarily on Hydralisks, and Iris is now pushing down that middle lane, and this is going to be difficult for Savior. He's only got a couple of Sunkens up. He does not definitely have enough to defend that, and he's going to be forced to remove his troops. We do know Savior is a master of defense, is a master of outlasting his opponents, and it'll be interesting to see if he can manage that here. Iris obviously with those large science vessels, and Savior playing with the Hydralisks, and I've got to give, and Savior Swarm goes up, so Swarm goes up over Savior Hydralisks. Brilliant play by Savior. Iris with the D-Matrix Marines. Iris didn't lose a lot of troops in that battle. Savior managed to defend with that Swarm, and his Defiler didn't get irradiated either. Savior trying to get a plague off on those science vessels. I don't believe that's going to be successful. He needs to pull that Defiler back now.